and Biomaterials, a 3-day event organized by Indian Biogas Association and Indus Expo and supported by Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Department of Science and Technology, and MSME, Government of India. Ladies and gentlemen, India, as we all know, is the world's fastest growing economy, creating a wealth of opportunity both for Indian and international entrepreneurs and investors. And as India advances towards the vision of Viksit Bharat at 2047, bioenergy, biofuels, and biomaterials will be central to building a resilient, inclusive, and sustainable economy. The 5th BBB International Expo and Summit is envisaged as a unified platform where policy dialogue, technological innovation, investment, and enterprise converge to translate this vision into action. Our highly focused exhibition featuring bioenergy, biofuels, and biomaterials showcases the latest developments in bioenergy and emerging technologies, while the summit aims to showcase India's potential on the global stage, attracting investment through multilateral dialogues. On this note, we once again warmly welcome you all to the 5th edition of BBB International Expo and Summit 2026. We sincerely hope that this collective effort will help propel India towards a more sustainable, resilient, and self-reliant energy future. The 3-day Expo and Summit is organized by Indian Biogas Association and Indus Expo and supported by MNRE, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Department of Science and Technology, and MSME, Government of India. The organizers extend its sincere gratitude to all the supporting partners. It's a privilege to associate with you all on this platform. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move into the inaugural session of Day 1 of our 5th BBB International Expo and Summit. I request all the dignitaries to kindly join us on stage. I request Colonel Rohit Dev, Founder, Resilient Energy and Strategic Partner, BBB Summit and IBA, to kindly join us on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. We request His Excellency Kenneth Felix, Ambassador of Brazil to India and Bhutan, to kindly join us on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause. We request Shri Santosh Kumar Sarangi, IAS, Director General, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Government of India, to kindly join us on stage. A very warm welcome to you, sir. We also request His Excellency Rasmus Abelgard Christensen, Ambassador of Denmark to India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, and Maldives, to kindly join us. Thank you so much, sir. May I now invite Mr. Bernd Scholz, Head of Economic Department, Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands in India, to kindly join us on stage. A very warm welcome to you, sir. And I request Dr. A.R. Shukla, President, Indian Biogas Association, to kindly join us on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our esteemed panelist. And before we proceed towards the inaugural ceremony, I request everyone present here and in the exhibition area to kindly stand up for the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे, गाहे तव जय गाथा। जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे, जय 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 हे।
Thank you so much. I request everyone to kindly take their seats. Ladies and gentlemen, we are also expecting our Honorable Union Minister, Road Transport and Highways, Government of India, Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, to join us online, and he'll be there with us shortly. And now we move towards our inaugural session, and I request Colonel Rohit Dev, founder, Resilient Energy and strategic partner, BBB Summit and IBA, to kindly come forward and deliver the welcome address for the inaugural ceremony on Urja Saksham Bharat. Please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. So, as always, it's a mixed feeling because the dais is full and the hall is half empty. And it always happens on days of working days in Delhi, and people take their own time to come. But notwithstanding, the energy surge of our country will continue. On stage, firstly, let me express my sincere gratitude at the beginning to Mr. Santosh Kumar Sarangi, who is the Secretary of MNRE, who has been here for the last about an hour plus, gone through deliberations with the industry stakeholders and academia and institutions, and is also taking out his time, and his time being precious, we'll try and curtail this ceremony to exactly 11:25 a.m. So somebody please remind me, because he has to leave and be at some place. Now we come from a standpoint today that in India, we face two challenges: a challenge of aspiration, a challenge of growth, and the challenge of resources, all put into one bucket. And when we find that, we find energy is something which drives a lot of activities in India, be it in the oil and gas segment, mining segment, or the renewable segment. And in that, we are a long way away, a very long way away to become self-reliant or an energy-secure country. You have seen various kind of hyperactivity news, the fear-mongering which has gone through in this country for last 1 month, where people have actually left Delhi by simple notions that we are going to run out of oil and gas in 2 days, 3 days' time, to the push of the government to try and advise us how to not, black marketeer stuff, how to transition into PNG in cities, how to conserve. And that brings to the point which the Prime Minister of this country has been talking about, the life concept in which sustainable efforts in living will define the energy needs, and the energy needs will eventually define whether we have it or not for ourselves. The dependency on the entire global supply chain of oil and gas, or be it even coal, I think is something which we cannot say no to today, but certainly there has been a knock factor on our heads in the last two months precisely, which again has got back into conversation that our energy transition has to create pathways which are more sustainable, more process-friendly as far as India is concerned. They are good to implement, and they are also, being a socialist country, acceptable to the masses when you create those passes. So I think from that perspective, India will take its own course. I'm quite sanguine that yes, the use of fossil fuel will not only increase in terms of the utilization of coal and other elements because of our rapid industrialization, but at the same time, we are getting pretty serious to understand what our limitations are, what are the pathways in renewable energy. Solar, we have done much. Wind is still initial stages. Bioenergy is in various states of growth and flux, and I think that is how to look at it. It's a mixed bouquet. We are not too good in any particular pathway, because every pathway starts with a heavy cost on imports of both commodity and technology for that segment, and then eventually the scales bring up the economies when we implement them. The second part which I want to just convey to you is that this entire BBB summit has been curated with a vision and an aim. It's the first humble beginning and the first time that we have taken this to a stage called Yeshubhumi. We want to actually focus on the intellectual part of what we are doing, how to synergize efforts, partnerships, not only within India, but globally as well. And with that endeavor, if you just go to the link on your WhatsApp, where you will see what the program is, the idea is very definitive, that get as many stakeholders as feasible, who can be here, who can be online, who can actually be sent a Google form to collect feedback, and be that conduit for the government of the day to be able to bring in a implementable strategy which the government can then initiate and enforce as well. Coming from a perspective of self-reliance, I can go on, but there is one bugging issue for the last about 3 years, Honorable Secretary, and that is to do with the energy security part itself at the apex level, which I convey very, very vehemently at all forums, is that just as you measure defense as a security angle, everything in defense is controlled by the Union Government of India. It's in the union list, and anything you promulgate, whether it's for technology, land, growth, money, finance, going to a territory and creating a base, you don't have to take any major permissions. So even if you're going to Andaman Nicobar to create an island of a port is a different issue, but when you say you're going to create an asset which is defense based, the issue is entirely different. So I think from that perspective, energy security has long been, from our independence, somehow put into the concurrent list. It is good and bad, but the bad part is that there is no synergetic apex level implementation or enforcement which can take place. So while I personally see in the last 7-8 years, ministries and particularly MNRE have put in a lot of effort to consult with stakeholders, put in policies, schemes, CFAs, recommendations, the implementation on ground does not take place to the level which the stakeholder would want, primarily because the states are the ones which do not either implement in the shape it is envisaged, or certain states don't even give you any liberty to even talk about that subject. So there are few states like that, no names here, but yes, one of them had an election recently. But given this entire landscape, I think it is very important for us as we commemorate today. I think it's 7th. It's one of the anniversaries of last year's operation. Last year, sir, when you were here, we were midst of Op Sindoor, and today the government of India is also celebrating along with its arm of the defense forces. So on that note, I will lay my intended speech to the rest right now, because I have got enough time to speak the whole day on many other issues. But I will give it back to the MC to take the proceedings ahead. And I will thank each one of you who are here at 10 o'clock, 10:30 for a valuable time. And anybody who's coming late, we will make a due note that they are here on time next time. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'll go into the next feature of the day. I will first request you, sir, Honorable Secretary of MNRE, to give your speech, sir, so that then you are at liberty to, you want the ambassadors first? Fine. So we'll start in no particular order, because I was waiting for Marisa to say ladies first, but notwithstanding, we will start with Brazil, and I would request Your Excellency to address us and also talk a little bit about the emerging pathways we can create jointly as cooperation between India and Brazil. Oh, stage is yours.
Good morning, Mr. Secretary Shri Santosh Kumar Sarangi from Ministry of New and Renewable Energies, dear colleagues from the embassies of Sweden, Netherlands, Colonel Rohit, thank you for having invited me here this morning. It's indeed an honor to address this 5th edition of the BBB Summit. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the organizers, the India Biogas Association and the Indian Federation of Green Energy. This is an invitation that builds on the enduring partnership with the Embassy of Brazil. And of course, we were also expecting, I think, later today, an address by Honorable Minister Gadkari from VDC. So I would also like to greet Minister Gadkari remotely for participating in this such an important event. Of course, the focus of my intervention will be sharing, I think, the journey of cooperation of between Brazil and India in the field of biofuels. But let me first set the stage against the broader backdrop of our bilateral relations with India. You know that we have long, together in India, we have long understood that biofuels save foreign exchange, generate income for farmers, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. These remain essential reasons, of course, to embrace them. But in the turbulent oil market we have come to witness, once again, shaped by wars, sanctions, tariffs, and the redrawing of supply routes from one quarter to the next, biofuels have become also more and more a matter of energy security. The ability to fuel our economies with what we grow on our own soil is more than an environmental virtue of a circular economy, which is, of course, remains very important for us. But it's more than ever also a strategic imperative. And Brazil learned this lesson the hard way half a century ago. Our ethanol program, as you recall, ProAlco, was originally launched in 1975 in the immediate aftermath of the oil shock of 1973, when our country imported more than 80% of the oil it consumed then. So what began as a response to vulnerability became also, over decades, the backbone of a more resilient economy, one that today provides Brazilian drivers with the daily freedom to choose at the pump between renewable and fossil fuels. Ladies and gentlemen, in a world of mounting geopolitical uncertainties, where some established partnerships can no longer be taken for granted, the long-standing friendship between Brazil and India goes the other way. It is flourishing and going firmer than ever by the day. As you recall, less than 3 months ago, President Lula paid a state visit to India, leading 13 cabinet ministers and around 300 business leaders. That was the largest Brazilian official delegation ever to come to India. And as President Lula put it during the visit, India and Brazil are not merely two of the largest democracies of the Global South. We are also partners across the full spectrum of the 21st century economy, from pharma to agriculture, from digital to renewable energy, from defense to critical minerals. And within this broader partnership, energy has become an increasingly strategic pillar, and we have been deepening our relationship across many fronts, in particular 3 main ones. Let me begin. I know this is a bioenergy, biofuel event, but let me begin by just briefly mentioning oil, because oil remains part of the energy transition era we are going through, and is becoming more and more also part of the equation of energy resilience and energy security. So let me just mention that 3 months ago, Brazilian state company Petrobras conclude contracts with Indian Oil, Bharat Petroleum, and Hindustan Petroleum to expand significantly our supply of crude oil to India to the tune of $3.1 billion. And also last month in April, Petrobras and Bharat Petroleum also concluded a final deal for the Indian company to explore deep water in the northeast of Brazil. I'm just mentioning this at the outset before I share with you our partnership in the field of bioenergy, to give an idea that to give a full outlook of our energy partnership, which rests on ensuring not only energy sustainability in our partnership, but also energy security. But now turning to biofuels, which has been one of the pillars of our cooperation in biofuels, let me say that this partnership has now emerged into a genuine two-way exchange, with both countries now being teachers and students at once. India has reached the historic mark of 20% ethanol blending in petrol, 5 years ahead of schedule. It's good to remind that. And Indian automakers are now bringing flex fuel technology to the Indian market, drawing on 5 decades of Brazilian experience. And at the same time, Praj Industries in Brazil is supplying technology and engineering for new grain-based ethanol plants, as Brazil is trying to further diversify its feedstock base to produce ethanol. Let me also recall that Honorable Minister Gadkari visited Brazil last year, leading a high-level delegation, and that gave a further impetus to this dialogue. And at that point in time, a landmark MOU was signed between the Brazilian Sugarcane Association, UNICA, and the Indian Sugar and Bioenergy Manufacturers, ISMA. And this will provide a broader institutional framework for industry-to-industry cooperation. And furthermore, let me also recall that the Global Biofuel Alliance, which our 2 countries are founding members, has also been moving forward and providing and sharing with a number of other members our successful experiences in this field. Now turning to the broader context of renewables, let me just mention that we have one of the largest Brazilian companies, WEG, manufacturing now eolic turbines in India, and becoming more and more the part of the Indian supply chain of eolic energy. And in Brazil, we have the contribution of Sterlite Power operating huge transmission lines in Brazil. So I'm just mentioning how this is a two-way cooperation, which has been strengthening our partnership for both sides. Another area which holds really promise, it's the critical minerals areas, which of course is most associated with energy storage. We have recently concluded an MOU of understanding that will connect and promote synergy between the Indian critical minerals mission and Brazil national plan to explore and process critical minerals. And now another area which is also holding very big promise is the sustainable aviation fuel, which during the state visit was identified by President Lula and Honorable Prime Minister Modi as the most mature pathway to decarbonize aviation, and an area where the complementarity between Indian and Brazilian feedstocks and expertise is particularly important. So, just to finish these brief remarks, let me recall that last November in COP30 in Belém, Brazil and India, alongside with other 20 other countries, launched the Belém 4X Pledge, which is a commitment to quadruple the global production and use of sustainable fuels by 2035. The pledge is a collective expression of what our countries have long believed, that bioenergy and biofuels are central, not peripheral, to the energy security of our nations and to the energy transition of the world. In a century that promises to remain volatile, this is the kind of long-term conviction on which serious and mutually beneficial partnerships are built. Brazil will continue to walk this road side by side with India at every step of the way. So thank you once again for giving me the opportunity of sharing these brief ideas with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I would now request Your Excellency from Denmark to please address us.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, and not least thank you for the invitation to deliver this special address at the inaugural ceremony of the 5th Summit on Bioenergy, Biofuels and Biomaterials. I believe this summit comes at a very timely moment. Bioenergy was just a few years back primarily driven by the climate agenda, but today it has also become a matter of national security. Hence, the case for investing in and expanding the production of bioenergy is more important than ever. This applies both to India's energy security and to Denmark, which, for example, ramped up biogas production following the war in Ukraine. So just a few years ago, and I will just start with this little fun fact, a few years ago, 5% of Denmark's gas consumption came from biogas, so around 5%. Today, close to 50%. So within a span of just 7-8 years, we have managed to ramp up our production quite significantly, and I will come back to that. India also has the potential to become independent of imported gas and in the future perhaps be 100% self-sufficient through biogas. A recent IEA study on India's biogas potential estimates that available and sustainable biological resources could cover close to 120% of India's current gas consumption. And besides the climate benefits and the enhanced energy security, of course, India's balance of payments would also benefit from utilizing locally sourced biomaterials for producing biogas. Last year, India imported natural gas worth close to $14 billion US, and it's the same picture that we see in Europe. And in addition, the waste product from biogas production is a natural fertilizer that can replace fossil-based ammonia. Biogas can also become a high-value commodity in the future production of e-fuels, which require a green source, basically the sustainable aviation fuels that the Brazilian ambassador also alluded to. And we know that India can produce green hydrogen at some of the world's most competitive prices. And if India can scale up its production of biogas, it can also become a very important global exporter of green fuels in the future. Scaling up the production of biogas to become independent from fossil gas and from imports takes time, of course, investment and knowledge, but it is definitely possible. If we turn to the experience from Denmark, as I said, since 2016, Denmark has shifted its gas consumption away from fossil gas to green gas. And as I said, 10 years ago, biogas only constituted 5% of our gas consumption. Today, it's close to 50% that comes from biosources. And by 2031, we estimate that all gas consumed in Denmark will be sourced from biomaterials. Denmark's transition toward biogas was not driven by large areas of unproductive agricultural land or the production of energy crops. On the contrary, land is a scarce resource in Denmark, so the feedstock is primarily sourced from waste. It's manure, it's sewage, it's household bio-waste, and it's plant-based residues. And if you look at the key drivers of Denmark's biogas transformation, at least 3 elements have been crucial. The first has been multi-stakeholder collaboration. So we put great efforts into ensuring that farmers, municipalities, energy companies, industry and government bodies are working closely together to make and implement key decisions when it comes to biogas. There's also strong and broad political support across the Danish political spectrum, including public funding that has enabled biogas to compete with fossil gas on price. And finally, technological innovation, including, for example, the use of enzymes and other technological innovations, has resulted in cost savings that certainly improves the business case of biogas. At the Danish Embassy, we are exploring how India and Denmark can cooperate even more closely on scaling up India's production of biogas and developing a strong biogas industry here in India. And we would be very happy to engage further in dialogue on policy initiatives, on financial incentives, and also how to create strong linkages between the biogas industry and the agricultural sector. Denmark can offer a full-fledged value chain as well as state-of-the-art technology and industry services. And with these words, I will conclude my remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. The location of the mic when I reached was here, so that conveys that, how high is Denmark in terms of renewables and how we need to get there. So that was an indication quite sympathetically. But without much ado, I would request Mr. Brent, the Energy Councillor of Netherlands, who is representing Marisa here. Netherlands, interestingly, is making some plant you were saying to be inaugurated in Nagpur, right? So you can just give us a small brief about that as well.
Thank you, Colonel. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you all, and very good to see Secretary Sarangi, and also to see my colleagues here on the dais. Good morning to you all. It's a great pleasure and honor to join, for me to join the inauguration of this 5th edition already of the BBB Summit here in Yashubhumi in Delhi. So this is the 2nd year that we join as the Dutch here in Delhi. And I'm very impressed by what has been done already. An incredible job has been done to provide this platform for bringing together leaders, innovators, and partners committed to sustainable solutions and a greener future in the small but important niche of circularity in the biomaterials and sustainable energy. Now, I would also like to express our sincere appreciation to Minister Gadkari for his leadership in advancing India's infrastructure, mobility, and sustainability agenda. I think his work on cleaner transportation, alternative fuels, and efficient logistics sets an inspirational example. And also would like to congratulate India on its revised NDCs, which clearly set a good example for many other countries as well. So now a few words on the Netherlands-Indian relationship and partnership, which is mobilized through core policy instruments like the MOU with your ministry, Mr. Sarangi, on renewable energy, which prioritizes co-development of renewable energy resources like green hydrogen. And we have the mission innovation on biorefineries that both our countries co-lead to drive innovations for the biotransition revolution. And this mission has supported, amongst other things, forming a consortia of partners that won the Horizon EU call with India on integrated biorefineries, which includes 5 Dutch institutions including renowned universities and think tanks, and TERI here in India is leading on the Indian side. And furthermore, we have the landmark 2026 announcement with the Department of Science and Technology, which is also involved in this conference, on India and Netherlands Hydrogen Fellowship Program, which supports capacity building, joint research and talent exchange on the important field of green hydrogen. And in 2 weeks' time, my country hosts the World Hydrogen Summit, which takes place in the wonderful city of Rotterdam. I'm sure some of you are going. And furthermore, the cooperation between the two countries is also growing in biofuel space, which was also mentioned by the Brazilian ambassador in the Global Biofuels Alliance. And Netherlands formally joined this India-led alliance last year to align biotransition and sustainable fuel strategies. And we look forward to cooperating more in that field as well. Now, Netherlands has also been delivering on the Integrated Solid Waste Management Program. It is a so-called Combi track through which we work closely together with the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs to improve solid waste management and facilitating waste-to-energy conversion technologies to be set up in India. And it's a combination where we support both company growth and business and development and sustainability for the environment all at the same time. And an important outcome that I would like to mention here in this context is the upcoming waste-to-biogas plant in Nagpur, which is about to be finished. And this will be implemented by a Dutch company, and we are very happy also with the strong political will and support that has been provided by, amongst others, Minister Kadgari as well. So through this program, we are also working to support capacity building of formal and informal waste workers, which is also very important to include them, obviously, because it goes much further than just the energy transition itself. It's also about the involvement of all the stakeholders from bottom up as well. So the inclusion and the capacity building of informal waste workers with a special focus on the role of women workers as well is very important to us, and we are very proud that we are working here together with India. And in this context and in all the other contexts that have been mentioned, India is rapidly emerging as a global innovation center for circular materials, industrial biotechnology, and green chemical pathways. And the upcoming Dutch innovation mission to India, which will take place later this year, will further strengthen this cooperation on, for example, circular plastics and bio-based chemicals and bio-based materials. That mission will take place here in Delhi, Chennai, and Hyderabad in October. And looking ahead, India's leadership in hosting the World Circular Economy Forum later this year is also highly welcome, obviously, goes without saying. And the Netherlands is already a proud partner of this forum, and we see it as an essential platform to drive the collaboration on circularity and sustainability. Now, let me conclude by saying that we would like to build on this momentum with ambition, with partnership, and a strong focus on concrete delivery. I wish you all a very successful conference, and thank you for attending. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brent. I think these three countries, Brazil, Netherlands, and Denmark, are always there for a conversation, and they are led from the front by their ambassadors and their team. And I must put on record publicly that they have been much more forthcoming to interact not only with us, but also with the industry, create their own segments of interaction, and I think that is the way to take it ahead. And I don't have the power to ordain, but the three embassies are hereby accorded the status of permanent members of this council. Right, so thank you for your support. What's the look on Gadkari ji? Should I think we will not, so let's not do that, right? Sir, I think there is some communication going on still with Mr. Gadkari's aide sitting next to Gaurav right now. But I would give you the floor to address this summit with your vision, and what is your ask as the Secretary of MNRE, which we could probably take on as our task and job work and get it done in the next 1 year. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Colonel Dev. Ambassador of Brazil, Ambassador of Denmark, the Energy Counselor of Netherlands, and distinguished friends. We couldn't have been holding this particular conference on a more appropriate occasion. The backdrop of West Asia crisis has provided us and has reminded us with lessons of history. These kind of disruptive events which can challenge the supply chain of countries, which can disrupt the energy security of countries, is something which is not new. It has happened in the past, it will happen in the future. But sometimes we tend to forget some of the lessons of history, and this particular crisis has reminded us that countries to be developed, countries to be resilient, need to address the energy security of their respective countries. So in this context, I think some of the countries which are placed on the dais, as well as India, has probably done a lot more than many of the other countries to address these kind of supply shocks. And our growth in renewable energy in the last couple of years, especially the last decade, has been phenomenal. Today, we are the third largest country in terms of renewable installation capacity, and in terms of solar energy, we have crossed 150 gigawatt of solar energy installation. In terms of wind energy, we have crossed 56 gigawatt. And in bioenergy, we have about 11.6 gigawatt of capacity today. From the point of view of circularity, bioenergy provides the best example of ensuring circularity. And if you look at some of the world events which have happened in the last couple of years, it only reinstates the belief in the fact that bioenergy is the way to go forward. Today morning, I was listening to a news which was suggesting that some of the major cities in the world are sinking over a period of time, and Mexico City has sunk by about 7 inches in the last couple of years. New York City is facing similar sinking in some of the areas. New Delhi and Mumbai are also sinking by about 2 inches. There are many areas which have shown that these cities are sinking. And studies are suggesting that overexploitation of groundwater is causing this kind of sinking, and we need to address this very fast. If I am not wrong, the Netherlands has discontinued the exploitation of natural gas in the North Sea because they felt repeated tremors in their country and they discontinued it. So this recognition that if we overexploit Mother Earth, then there is a way in which Mother Earth will give you that signal to be aware and to restrain this overexploitation. And in this context, I think from a sustainability perspective and from a nurturing of Mother Earth perspective, we need to now focus a lot more on the potential of bioenergy and how to leverage it. From India's point of view, our dependence on import of crude petroleum, liquefied natural gas, and LPG has been fairly high. But bioenergy provides us this pathway to reduce our dependence, and both compressed biogas, briquette and pelletization, small biogas in rural areas, all of these provide us with pathways. In addition, focus on biofuels, sustainable aviation fuels, on green hydrogen and their derivative in terms of green methanol and SAF would also provide us with the pathway for reducing our import dependence and increasing our energy security. Colonel Dev spoke of the expectation of the ministry. In one of the previous sessions, I was just outlining the expectations from the ministry perspective. Currently, the investment in this sector is not at the desired level. For the investment to come in the bioenergy sector, there are 2 or 3 missing gaps. One is how to prove these models as commercially viable, whether it is compressed biogas, whether it is briquette and pellet plants, or whether it is small biogas in the rural areas. How do we establish commercially viable models, and what are the missing gaps which are preventing these from being commercially viable will have to be addressed. So, doing a due diligence to bring about commercial viability of this, and what is the expectation from the industry, what is the expectation from the government, what is the expectation from central government, state government, will have to be thoroughly listed out and worked on. The second aspect is how do we collaborate with some of the countries which are present in the dais and also outside to bring in technology in these areas. There are proven technologies, established technologies, and commercially viable models working in other countries. So what do we need to collaborate on importing and getting the right kind of technology which will suit Indian condition is something that we need to work on a much more aggressive manner. The third area is indigenous R&D and innovation to promote bioenergy. So in this context, a good industry-academia collaboration with the government pitching in is the need of the hour, and we need to aggressively work in this particular direction. And wherever we have research which has reached a certain TRL level, we need to promote the pilots and bring it to commercial scale. So in all of these, MNRE has been a willing partner through a variety of schemes as well as R&D support. We have been working with the industry. So Colonel Dev has suggested that you have a discussion and roundtable on different topics, and you are going to come up with suggestions. So these 3 areas that I suggested, I'll be looking forward to suggestion in these areas and looking at ways in which we make bioenergy not only a sustainable initiative, but also a commercially viable initiative. With this, I wish the best for success of this particular exhibition, as well as the successive roundtables which you have planned, and I'm sure this will provide us with insights on the bioenergy roadmap that India has to undertake. Thank you all.
Thank you, Honorable Secretary. I think Shri Gadkari ji will join us soon. It's about 3 minutes to go. But I know also your time. So can we modify a small part of the event that we can have the facilitation of the mementos right now on stage, and then moment Shri Gadkari is there, we'll take a pause. So please go ahead and announce, MC, and get this done quick, 3.5 minutes. Okay, so I'll also request Gaurav on stage. There is a white paper on FOM and soil improvement being taken out by Indian Biogas Association. I would request us to all have this inauguration going through. So please. I think this is a good idea as well for the group photograph. When Mr. Gadkari is there, we can have the photograph again. It's looking nice. So over to you for this, please.
We thank all our dignitaries and distinguished speakers for their valuable time and contribution to the inaugural session. Request you to kindly be seated. And since we're expecting Honorable Minister Shri Nitin Gadkari ji to join us online shortly, so before that it's time to honor all our esteemed speakers for gracing the occasion. I request Dr. A.R. Shukla, President, Indian Biogas Association, to kindly felicitate Shri Santosh Kumar Sarangi, IAS, Secretary, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Government of India. Thank you so much, sir, for taking out time for us and for your inspirational words. Thank you so much for gracing the occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Shri Santosh Kumar Sarangi ji. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, now I request you to kindly felicitate His Excellency Kenneth Felix, Ambassador of Brazil to India and Bhutan. Thank you so much, sir, once again for your time and for your august presence to the session. Thank you so much. And now we request you to kindly honor His Excellency Rasmus Abelgard Christensen, Ambassador of Denmark to India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, and Maldives. Thank you so much, sir, for your time and contribution to the session. Thank you so much for your motivating words. We request you to kindly felicitate Mr. Bernd Scholz, Head of Economic Department, Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands in India. Thank you so much, sir, for those motivating words of yours. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for this wonderful inaugural session. Thank you so much. And now we're expecting our Honorable Union Minister, Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, to join us shortly for the online message. We appreciate your presence. Thank you so much.
Time is time. Okay, we'll continue to wait for Shri Nitin Gadkari ji for his address. So please be calm and seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are having multiple activities today here, and we request you to kindly visit the exhibition area also. And apart from many thematic sessions that we will be having on day 1 of the 5th edition of BBB Summit and Expo 2026, we also request you to attend those activities as we are celebrating this wonderful occasion here. And since we're talking about the vision of Viksit Bharat at 2047, bioenergy is the need of the hour.